We're good?
We're live.
We're live.
But not actually live, as people
we're not live.
will remind us.
Yeah, everybody freaks out because we don't do live episodes. What's the infatuation with live episodes? We don't really edit anything out of these anyway, other than when Angelo has a slip up and maybe
I do have a slip up. Well,
Tourette's creeps in every once in a while. But for the most part, this is pretty unfiltered podcast.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't understand the infatuation. I guess because they can comment live.
Maybe.
Like, we're going to read it. Like, we can't see anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Post-Mayhem Classic. That's pretty much all we got to talk about, right? Was there anything before that? We haven't done one in a while, actually. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks.
Quarterfinals, I think.
Scott's been plugged into the Matrix the last couple weeks just on classic stuff. So we tried to do one, 2 weeks ago and just couldn't.
Yeah.
I would have liked to do one right like last week or
like
the week before.
A hype video, but you did enough to hype it before.
Yeah.
We would have just taken away from your whole propaganda campaign.
Yeah.
As you tried to do.
Yeah. Well, how did I try to do it?
You just had some last minute changes that like trying to change the Gwen weight.
I just needed to be sure about the Gwen weight. Ben was supposed to test that.
And we almost
never did.
And we almost
I see. So did he show you his video? You gotta see his video.
Okay, so
he like drops and he's like.
we almost didn't have the log, which
we almost didn't have the log. That was not.
Oh yeah.
No, it wasn't your fault. I'm just saying that would have messed me up.
Yep.
So.
What would you have done had there been no log?
I don't know.
I don't know. There was some people throwing out like,
bad
let's
ideas.
ruck it ruck half the way. And at no point did I ever even consider that. I did not want to do that. You slow it down too much. It would have been a lot of walking. It helps a guy like me who's a bad runner to have a ruck on.
I mean, we can get into the details of it all, but like everything.
Oh yeah, hold on. What's your? Well, he can't be super transparent because me and JR programmed it, so he can't hate on any.
I also
of it.
can't be that hateful because page one. So like, I obviously can't hate it that much.
That's true.
So my opinion is really biased at this point. No, I mean, I'll give you my unbiased.
Give me your hypercritical.
Yeah, my hypercritical. The run was insanely cool. I think everyone thinks that. That's just across the board insanely cool. The video we did of us commentating on it, like almost every athlete
had ruined it. We ruined it. We gave away the ending. People were so upset about that.
Oh, really?
Which is weird.
Wait, do you have a leaderboard?
We have a leaderboard.
Existed already.
They posted on social media the highlights and who had won. It blew my mind that people were so. And I get, hey, if we were gonna be hypercritical, but people were so upset about that.
I thought everyone knew it was post produced. Like it's hard to know, like act like we don't know at all. I felt like we did a decent job mostly, so we're like kind of hint at it and. Yeah. Anyways, whatever.
Anyways,
it was a great event. I thought it was super cool. The log was just, the people spiraling the night before with the log video, the trail video, and then the log coming out afterwards.
A little bit of misdirection. Misdirection.
So no, that was cool. That was really awesome. Watching the best athletes in the world walk on a run is awesome. So.
I did not see many walk, which was surprising to me.
I saw a decent amount of walkers.
Really? Oh,
the guys in the front, like obviously the camera was on those guys in the front. I think they, like Austin, Jeff, and Roman and Quinn, those guys, I think they ran the whole time, but everyone else, I heard,
thank God,
walked at some point.
Because that's impressive.
Haley walked. She was winning, and she walked several times. She's like frantically walking. She's like, I got to walk, but someone's close.
The power hike, looking
the best
behind
part
her.
of it, everybody's like, oh, it's not fair, man. Athletes have an advantage, and we can get into that later. But the fact that Haley even didn't know where the top was and was panicking. Tells you something.
Yep.
Yeah, she was like screaming, trying to figure out if we were almost there. I'm like, I don't know.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless you run that, and actually, I don't know if Haley's ever.
She's never run that full
technically
thing.
Run that hill before. So
I think Roman is probably the only guy.
He's the only
Jorge
guy
and some of the others have run it.
Well, the only guy in the field, I think.
Have you run it? Run it.
I've ran that one time, like the whole thing in its entirety one time.
Because a group of them rucked it a couple years ago.
I mean, I think people jumped. Roman runs the whole thing.
Yeah.
A couple times a year, but mostly just has repeats on the bottom hill.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have jumped in with him maybe once and done it. Like I know Austin's probably done it one time.
I think maybe. I've run the entire thing one time.
Yeah. I biked it a whole lot more.
So much.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was doing Leadville, there's two kind of hills, the super steep one in the beginning and then the long kind of gradual one there. It is steep too. But I know every pothole. I know So that isn't one advantage, obviously, for me.
And then driving it.
But driving it, I've driven it a million times. I grew up at the top, So, yeah.
And even still, though, when estimating times, and you had to factor in the burpees as well, but like, we thought it'd be a lot more, yeah?
Yes and no. I thought some of the top times would be around where sub 30 or right around 30 is smoking.
I was thinking 10-minute miles. Without the burpees, I'm thinking 10-minute miles would be good.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to think about, you put yourself in a competition setting and you're going way fast. Like if I'm just, I'm going to go for a run.
And even if you think you're pushing hard, it's just not the same.
Hard. But if you're getting chased or you're chasing somebody, it puts you in a completely different headspace. So yeah, that was fun, man. That turned out better than I could have expected. We, up until 2 weeks, didn't have the logs set or even had a plan on the logs. We'd kind of like left it to different people to figure out, and we'd kind of hit some dead ends. And finally, Steven South, I started a text thread with Jeff Cole because he is like a chainsaw is his right arm.
Yeah.
He knows how to handle a chainsaw. Revo, who's an engineer. Dad, I don't remember if Watkins, you were in there, and then maybe Watkins has weird connections to people, and then Steven South.
Steven South has a connection to everyone for everything.
If it's ever in that zone, like that's your first call.
Like an outdoorsy
I put it on there, and he's like, I got a guy at Upper Cumberland Electric that could probably get us some telephone poles. And then I'm like, telephone poles sometimes are hit or miss because they do have those splinters on them, and they do have like that weird sap and tar on them. And then he's like, Tompkinsville, Kentucky, I got logs. I'm like, how much? He's like, free. Cool.
Really?
Even better.
Sweet.
Yeah.
For free?
For free. And so then Dad's in, and he's like, man, we're going to have to build these. I was talking to Billings about having metal things to hold all the logs in the area. And then Dad on the last minute was like, let's just cut a couple logs. He had these drawings, and we basically just cut logs at whatever height. Dad went through, measured everything, and had this master plan. So he cut the grass. We, Revo, Jeff. Yeah, it was awesome. So we did probably 4 or 5 hours on Tuesday and then less than that on Wednesday. Wednesday, we were just kind of like cleaning stuff up, making sure they were solid, and then trying to sand them down as much as we could just so athletes didn't, get some splinters in there. It's kind of crazy at how quick it all came together from nothing. Scott was at the you were starting to panic a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we'd created so much of like intrigue around that event. And so if it didn't go according to the plan we had and we had to change it, I was going to be like, I don't think people, they wouldn't have known, so they wouldn't have been let down, but I would have been very let down because I had big plans for the release of it.
When we originally wrote that, when we wanted to do the 5K, the trail was never even, we didn't even think about doing the trail. Right. But we did have that 24-hour run, so that kind of fit into
and I posted the photo I posted the photo of the thing, and then it was weird because after I posted that photo on your account of the Mayhem Classic sign, everyone was like not people, like people here were too, but like people in the media were calling it a trail 5K and stuff as if we had announced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, we never said we're running on a trail.
He just found that random old sign from the trail run, and
we used as an
arrow.
We
forgot it. We polluted. Sorry, we forgot it. The sign.
Well, no, we put it up for the 24-hour.
Did we? Okay, yeah. I thought it was just one that was left over.
No, I was out on the trails during the 24-hour run, and I was like, I
thought that was just one that we had forgotten to pick up because it's kind of on the trail from the original class.
No, I think it was there for the run.
Okay.
Or for the bike or something like that.
Gotcha.
It's pretty hilarious when they all thought that they knew what was going on too, like the athletes. Because you came back with paint all over your shoes, and you
Sam was like, "Oh, yep,
no,
you've been marking a trail."
Sam was like, "Couldn't be more obvious, man. Like he was obviously out there marking a trail."
Yeah.
And I was like,
I was like, "No, I was painting chalk with violet on the concrete, and we were literally just marking those 4-foot lanes."
Yeah.
That honestly, the hardest part of that whole log was marking those stupid lanes.
Really?
Yes. Because we had to measure, make sure they were relatively square.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were a couple lanes that were like 3 feet, 11 and a half heavy inches, like it is what it is. But we did the best we could. And then, so originally when we rode it, we wanted a sandbag clean at my driveway up and over something. And then I was looking at it, the driveway it starts to go uphill a little too soon. Now I'm like, we could have put sandbags up over that log too. But as we programmed the whole thing in what, an hour, if that?
Yeah.
So it was me, Austin, Darren, JR,
maybe an hour and a half,
Scott, and Ben, and we were all just sitting in the conference room, and we just started throwing stuff on a whiteboard, and that was one of the first. We were like 5K.
Well, you and Austin had come up with some rough ideas previous to our meeting, and then we kind of riffed off of those. And threw some out.
I think it was me, Austin, JR, and Darren all kind of had a text thread, and then we threw some of those. Started piecing stuff together, and then as Gwen came out and as the front squat came out,
you texted the 5. I distinctly remember this. I was up in Michigan for Thanksgiving, and I was hunting with one of my brothers-in-law, and we were trying to do like a deer drive or something, and I saw a text come through that was like, we were talking about the first event or something. I saw a text come through for you that said 5K, and I was so pissed because I wanted this offsite event, and I thought, I didn't see the rest of the text, but I thought you just wanted to do a straight 5K, which I think is fine, but I think with the history and stuff we have around here, it was cool to do something else. And then I opened the text, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a good idea. Because at that time, it did have the sandbag, but just the fact that it was going up the mountain. You always had the idea to go up the mountain.
Yeah,
which was never, really cool.
We talked about doing something around Cookeville, using the Capitol as the idea of, or the template of it, but just the logistics of closing down streets and all, which
the main street. 2
people on the Pfeiffer Mountain Facebook group were up in arms that we closed down the road.
Yeah, so next year we'll just have to close the roads from the gym to the square.
There you go. Be ready. You've been warned.
Dude,
I think Rory, even when we told him the 5K, cool. You were kind of like, really? Like, So.
Admitted, yeah. It underwhelmed me at first, but to Angelo's point, it just couldn't have been better.
No, I think it was great. I think the burpee in the middle, there weren't a ton, and it probably didn't make a huge difference. But if you watch the video of like Jeff in the middle of it decides to slide over and Hatfield doesn't, who knows what that does to the hip flexors, climbing that hill, whatever. It could have done a place here or there. It probably helps the runners a little bit, but you get to showcase a little bit of athleticism of, learning something on the fly. I said it on the broadcast, but, we're so used to these numbers, 48-inch get-overs or 42-inch get-overs or 36. I still don't know how high that
just get over
was.
it. Yeah.
And so it was a little bit different wherever, so you could have maybe taken the time to be like, oh, that one's a little lower, I'll go there, because there was no requirement on where you had to go, just whoever.
What if it crescendoed up?
I know, right? That would be good.
You're in last place. You have like a 48-inch guy, and it pays to be a winner. Yeah, guy in first place gets a 40-inch box. You get a 48.
I'm really surprised that stayed under wraps as long as it did.
Yeah,
because there was a back and forth on like, hey, should we tell people? My wife came out there freaking out that people's hands were going to get splinters in them, and so I'm like, maybe we tell them, and then so.
Well, even at the briefing, from day one, it was in my head that we would tell them they were going to run up the mountain at the briefing, and then the next morning at the start of the run, we'd tell them about the burpees. But then you were like, no, we're not going to tell them the course. So even stuff like that got, like, we changed at the last second.
Yeah.
And so, like, we were pretty planned out, but some of the stuff that went well, because I think that was a good change to do that.
Yeah.
Because then
we did give them the course in a video the night before.
Yes, but then it doesn't look like it looks more flat than it is.
The video
every athlete
that you guys put out or that we put out plus that video, it looks flat.
Yeah.
You can't until you do it. It's literally like that first climb is a wall almost. It's almost a 45 degree.
Yeah, it is so steep.
Yeah, every athlete we talked to was like, that video did not even get close to doing it justice.
Not even close.
And they said that they were like getting chills on the run. They were pushing so hard.
Yep. The best thing I kept hearing was from almost every single athlete was that every hill I went over, I thought it would be the last one.
Man, that gives me Pendleton vibes.
I'd get over it and there's like another one, and I can't see anything.
False turns, man. Yeah. Those turns just keep on going.
Did anybody athletes give you guys? Because I've been asked this question a million times. Like, what was their actual run pace? Like, do you know?
I've not looked at anybody's.
Obviously, you can do the math, but then you got to factor in the burpees.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. No.
And there was times where you're like, oh, these guys got to be flying. but then Toby's running backwards filming. Yeah. Like, it can't be crazy fast, you know?
Well, Toby Buckland's run pace until the start of the hill was great.
A lot of people's were great. They came out so hot.
He came out sprinting ahead of everyone, and I was like, man, he's either going to wax these guys or this is a huge mistake. As it turns out, it was a huge mistake.
Yeah. But what do you do, you know? Like,
yeah.
Well, it's tricky because it starts flat and you're all amped up first event. So it's probably really hard to hold back at the start of that event.
Yeah, and it's really flat, and then you hit that hill, and you've been in pretty much a dead sprint trying to get to the front of the pack, and you're like, oh no.
Emma Lawson said in her interview yesterday that she had a pace in her head of what it should be, and then everyone started running so aggressively, and she said she immediately had to she's like, it's one of those things where even in a workout this happens where you sometimes do have to throw that pace out, and you're just like, well, this is going to be a lot more uncomfortable than I thought. Because she ended up finishing third on the workout, so she did great, but it was one of those things where they started so fast and they stayed fast enough to where she had to run faster than what she had planned on. Right. And credit to Matt Torres, ran that hill. Yeah. Which is crazy.
He did. Yeah, he ran it that morning.
Yeah. You didn't run it, Angelo?
I did not run athlete. It. I did not run it, no. I've driven it, I rode a bike, I've walked, I've ran it once. I had a pretty decent idea of what should happen. But yeah, for anyone who came out and had no clue to go run, I mean, that's a good way to do it. I think he literally ran it and then just told Emma, like, hey, based on the run pace I know you have, this is what you're supposed to run, and then like Scott said, it didn't work. Like, she just had to go faster, which she had the capacity to do, so that's good.
Yep, so that was event one. I thought played out better than I thought it could have. It was, I mean, and wildly understated on how much we could not. That is a small glimpse of, having Jeff and Revo and all those guys out to help with that. Yeah. And then they're all weekend. Just mayhem before we get too deep into, each event. Without the members there at Mayhem, all the volunteers that showed up, that event is not possible. To see what that place goes from Thursday, Wednesday night to what it becomes Friday, or even by Thursday afternoon, and then by Friday, man, it is insane, the transformation and the man hours and the long hours that those guys and girls and then even throughout the event, members there all be like, you're like, oh, hey, thanks for coming. Yeah. And just happy to do it, man. Yeah. Happy to do it. Jeff, up until yesterday, Jeff and Kevin loading up that Rogue truck, and at some point, like you can't have manpower. It's just Kevin just loading that, Jeff guiding him, and Kevin loading that thing up, and then, Dad and everybody jumping in to help. So I think I saw Mom in there making shakes and all that too. So
and like 90% homegrown. Like there were some volunteers who traveled, which and couldn't do it without them either. But like you keep talking about Jeff and Revo. And these are dudes who they've got a past life that was highly productive. I saw and Revo's helping out his son start a new business. I saw him at the high school this morning. Like they're starting a project out there. He was the DJ for the weekend.
Weekend. He was an Imagineer for Disney. He was
we're really lucky, man.
Yeah, the entire life class helps out. Yep. I think every single person that I see in the life class is doing something back there. So man, it's awesome putting the rig up. I didn't see Dad really cuss anybody, so that was good. Maybe Darren, that was about it.
He did a lot of he set the groundwork in advance too. Some of the stuff that's happened in past years, broadcast specific, he had power everywhere. He had internet got fixed after 2020. So some of that stuff, you learn as you go.
Preemptive, yeah.
That for him is
I did see him in a couple spots, actually watching the competition. At one point I'm commentating and I'm like, I feel something on my shoulder and I turn around, it's my dad. I'm like, what do you need?
What's wrong?
He's just watching,
He was sitting in that golf cart for the first event.
Yeah.
Well, he drove up and down a few times, but
Ranger,
then he was at the finish line sitting in a golf cart.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just taking it all in.
Taking it all in. Yeah, coming through his and him for letting us use his house.
Yeah. People hang out in his barn.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this, Scott. I think I told this to you guys. I asked Lucy Campbell, which they were all sitting in there, and me and AJ just brought up the rest of the bags for the guys for the finish line. And I was sitting there drinking water, and I said, Lucy, is this the most redneck thing you've ever seen? She goes, oh, yeah.
There's snake skins on the wall.
The snake skins on the wall are pretty cool.
She's like, this set is amazing. You're like, nah, dude, this is
life. Yeah. This is my childhood right here.
Guys put a lot of work into the look here.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt, Americana, and wildlife. And by wildlife, I just mean rattlesnake skins on the walls.
Yeah,
snapping turtles.
There's a snapping turtle shell up there.
Is there?
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, nice.
I said I'd be more afraid, honestly, of the snapping turtles because you just don't know where they're at. Like the snakes, you kind of see them a little bit. I told her about him having a shotgun mounted to his mower. She's like, "What?"
Maybe that's why she didn't go in the pond. I'm still shocked that nobody went in the pond. It blew my mind.
I know. Like I said, I would have literally crossed the finish line
and just
seen that there's a pile of dudes in the plunge and just marched down to the pond.
Yep. I haven't tested the water down there. I bet it's nice. We could swim there.
Nice. It was probably nice and chilly. Like it would have felt good.
Yeah. Would it like the top? You know, the top layer gets hot, and then you get underneath it, and it's like cold.
It's pleasant.
Yeah, I would have liked. That's what I would have done, but whatever.
You didn't do it. You didn't run the hill.
Oh, and Ford and Cookville for giving us those Mustangs.
Yeah, the Mach-E's.
Yeah.
No, the athletes weren't breathing fumes, which is always a pleasant experience when you're at an event.
You get to lead a run, and the
just
pace car is just...
Yeah, and the sheriff's department for closing down the road, and just those guys were awesome on their motorcycles. Putnam County Emergency Management Agency, Brandon's awesome, so it was awesome.
And they show up every day at 6 a.m.
Yep.
They're also members, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yep. They were fired up. Everybody's fired up to be a part of it. So,
and I mean, I don't know. What do you think people think of like the venue? Because it like being in Mayhem obviously is cool, but like it's not just that it is in Mayhem. It just like is the perfect venue in my opinion because we have a pretty condensed floor. The 360 floor, like what Josh was saying, was awesome. You could stand behind, you could stand in front, and then the elevated stands that we had, like the standing platforms, I think people love that too. And then having the athlete area for the athletes. The one thing that I really like, and I obviously am not competing, that like there's a corral that the athletes can warm up in, no coaches allowed.
Yeah.
That which is so nice. I mean, you're only 10 feet from them, but you don't have people like lingering around in between barbells. It just seemed so just nice. Everything seemed nice. And then the corral's right there, not long corrals. I think it was like 8 minutes usually. And then you go out, and obviously the walkout is from here to there.
Yeah.
I think it's, that's not the hard part. That's the part that having competed.
Yeah.
And knowing what that's like.
Yeah.
But also putting on an event, that was a big thing too, is our athlete briefs. We try to film before, and then they ask questions. I hated athlete briefs.
Yeah, that brief was so short.
Athlete briefs with a passion. I hate when people ask stupid questions. I hate when you listen to you have to listen to the whole spiel, watch the flow, and then people ask stupid questions that just keep you there. So we try to eliminate a lot of that before, so then it's just quick, and then you're not coming like let's brief everything, and get it over with, so we don't have to do this again tomorrow night. And then when you're done for the day, you're done for the day.
Yeah, like Drew literally said, like here's a flow real quick, and then went over the flow, and then it was all right. Any questions over? And then I was like, wow, they've done all the events already.
Yep.
And then
it's a necessary evil because the stupid questions are going to come.
It is, but we try to do the heavy work in the video, and they get it first, and then if you want to ask questions, so we're not watching the same. You're just as an athlete, man. I dread
sitting in the bleachers for 30. Your back is killing. You're like, dude, I have to go.
And I got to be here in the morning and all that. So we try to eliminate that. Try to condense the schedule. One for the athletes. Once you're there, you don't have to be there all freaking day. And also for spectators.
The judges, the spectators, the volunteers. So, this window we're going to be doing competition. Outside of that window, we're good. And we can run those community events like we were doing in the mornings. Like, you can do stuff like that. You're not like, oh, man, sorry, we got shut down. We got 3 hours of briefings.
Yeah. Yep. But to address your question, yes, I think it's perfect, right? And I'd way rather do it this way and have to outgrow it than the opposite. Like some of these massive venues, I don't know how they're pulling it off.
Looks empty,
yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't have to have a bunch of people in there for it to make it look like it's popping, which it was. There was a lot of people.
It was.
There, but
it was great.
It's just intimate feeling for the spectator, but also for the athlete. You get this hyped crowd. Everybody's close. They're close to you.
And that was really some of the only feedback that we heard last year was, once it's stacked up against those tall barricades, you didn't have a great viewing experience. And I think that those risers
helped.
But we were probably for some of those events, I mean, that was capacity unless we put in massive bleachers.
Yeah.
Like we did in 2020, and that was cool.
What they did at Rogue that one year where they had real bleachers up all the way up to the ceiling. Yeah. That was a cool freaking venue too. So
the outdoor Red Bull area was really cool.
Yeah.
They had their little bar set up. They had that freaking awesome truck sitting out there, and then the workout stage out there. Was there like a big TV out there? We should maybe put like one of those jumbotrons out there to make it like a beer garden set.
There was the Red Bull truck had a TV.
Oh yeah, perfect.
It wasn't huge, but you could hear audio.
No,
so like
perfect.
You'd go out in the morning and they'd be playing
that video.
But I'm glad you said that also.
Board that Jason Gaw brought, dude.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of people. Jason Gaw does.
It's as big as this whole thing if you flattened it out. It was
literally 16 by 9.
It was incredible.
And I thought it was feet. Awesome. And I thought it was a big ad. It was geeking out a couple times, but outside of his control. But yeah, he's another dude who you're like, hey, we got this technical issue. We'd like to do this. And he's like, well, here's how you solve that. And by the way, I've got a 16 by 9 video board. You want that? And I'm like, yes, we do. Yeah, that would be great.
Now that was sweet. And then that outdoor area where we ran classes was cool too. I thought that was a great addition.
At one point, somebody said to me, like, is it kind of weird that they're like looking at themselves work out? And I'm like, no, it's awesome.
Because then they can see where
they can game it.
Yeah, the first day, the whole first day, I didn't know that video board was there.
Yeah, because
I thought they were just looking at the clock.
Oh, you see all the athletes like staring this way?
Yeah. And I'm like, what are they? Oh, that's where the main clock is.
Yeah.
And I realized they were looking at the board. So
because you could see, it had the standings. Like if you're in third or fourth, like you see it up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, and you're chasing. That's even I thought it was cool.
That was kind of like part of your game, right? Like when they
always watching.
Yeah,
sure.
Watching. It's like somebody gets on a long run in an NFL stadium. You're looking up at the board, seeing if anybody's coming for you.
Yep.
That's you gotta be aware of that stuff. So back to programming.
Yeah.
Austin's idea on Gwen, that was something from the beginning. We were like, all right, 5K, most programmed workout on .com. Kind of another history thing was Gwen. I hate when you, like, as an athlete, you tell me I have to do something some way, but this is a little bit different in that, I think. But yeah, those were the first two that were kind of cemented, right?
Yeah. And we originally were tossing around the idea of doing them both on Friday, but then we wanted more events while people were able to watch.
Right.
So that's
we talked about maybe hitting the run on Friday and then a Friday night lights of Gwen, which could have been really cool.
Yeah.
I only wanted to do 2 days again.
Yeah.
And Scott was like, we have to do an offsite, blah, 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 So against my better judgment, we did that. And so Gwen, we were trying to figure out where it fit in Friday night or Saturday morning. I want to say the next workout that we kind of floated was a version of event 4.
Right. Hold on, sorry.
Yeah.
How did you get the weight for Gwen right? Because you said you were doubting it.
I panicked up until, Ben was supposed to test it, and I assumed that he tested it, and he didn't test it.
The first day, though, when we set 185, it was because
Austin was like, I did it at 175 10 years ago, and it was fine.
And we knew 205 would be too much, and JR was very reassuring that 185 was a good load.
Yeah, because at some point, I think somebody floated 225.
Oh,
and in my head, I'm like, that's science fiction. And I know that I'm not what I used to be, and I know these athletes have advanced over the years.
225.
But even 185, man, like at some point on Tuesday, I think it was, I started having some doubts. I'm like, man, they're like, yeah, but the graphic's already made. I'm like, I don't give a – to that point, I was like, I don't care, because if we miss this, the graphic doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, maybe 165?
Mm-hmm.
And so I came out here and – you give me 36 clean and jerks at 185, and I'd be fine right now. You tell me I have to touch and go them. I haven't touch and go to barbell, especially a clean and jerk, over 95 pounds in probably a year
not for 5.
And not for
15.
Yeah. And so I came in here. Toby was in here. He's like, hey, you want me to film this? I was like, get out of here, Toby. I don't want anybody to watch me do this. And so I, warmed up. I did a version of that row handstand walk that we programmed coming up on Compete. And I was like, that's a good warm up to like get my heart rate up, get my shoulders warmed up. And so we were about to go build the log. And so I put on, worked up, I hit 185, and I was like, all right, I'm going to see what a set of 15 feels like. I got to 8, did 9. I'm like, nah, it's good. 15's and like 185's enough.
Yeah, they can do it.
And then I took it down to 155 so I could actually get some fitness in. And 155 was hard. Hard. So at that point, I'm like, all right, we're stuck. We're going with it. So
the deterioration too, like when you saw them, like the ones who weren't going to do well weren't going to do well, but the ones who were hitting it hard, you saw them get through their 15s, and you were like, they're flying. And then they got to 12, and it was big long rest and some huffing and puffing. You could see their heart beating out of their chest, and that's when it got really interesting.
Sam had a plan to go out there and rest about 75 seconds, do 15, rest about a minute 15. So you could see, like you said, you could see the clock. So he like locked the last one out, looked at the clock. and then rested. It was exactly at 2 minutes. He did 45 seconds, so he was going to go at 2 minutes. And he did. And then he did the 12, and it looked hard. And he just turned around and looked at me and goes, 2 minutes. And I go, that's probably smart. And he took almost all of the 2 minutes. I think he got to like a minute 45, and I think he started. And it was the right call because like the last couple, his like feet were going wide, the jerks were getting wobbly, and like 185 jerks are not hard for him, so his shoulders are getting wobbly.
That's the sleeper on all that. Everybody was talking about the grip, but the shoulders too of like the stability in that is crazy.
It's a full body experience.
It really is. It is miserable unless you've done it.
And they were bloodied up too. You know, like I guess you're not receiving the bar in the same way you would if you're singles or whatever.
Well, because it's coming down, it's like
you're collarbones, dude. I was seeing blood all over the place, and
been there.
You catch it high and it slides down, and you're like, oh,
yeah, you miss that below my collarbone, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm going to bleed out.
The Gwen weight, other than when we first programmed in the Tota Bar ski GHD thing, other than you getting mad at me that day, that workout was set. Mm-hmm. But the Gwen weight and the finale were the two most contentious.
Yeah, we had some arguments.
Like Rich and I and Ben, I guess, were like
Ben mostly. I know you were on the final. I wanted to punch both of you in the face.
Yeah, we had a lot of moments with those.
And that's how we operate.
Yeah,
you know, like I welcome the criticism on most things, and it wasn't the criticism; it was the delivery of said criticism.
Yeah, I could perceive
having not tested it. But yeah, so that one was great. I mean, I saw, so you know, there was a couple different judging things that we talked about. You know, I saw a couple people online upset that if the hips went back and they regripped, and some people were held to whatever. It's just in the moment, man. The judge, the AFJ came out. They did a great job.
I think like the deceleration onto the thighs is not the same thing as resting
pushing
your
hips
crease.
back. And even if you have it here and you regrip, it's fine. But
as
soon as you push the hip back,
put it in the hip pocket.
Was it you that was like, were you out there when we were talking? Somebody was talking about the standard, and at first it was going to be if you regripped or you pushed it in the hip and regripped, that rep didn't count, but you could keep going. And we were like, no, as soon as you regrip, that whole set's done.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, people were like, Gabby Magala, blah, blah. I saw people flipping out. Dude.
That was awesome.
That is one, credit to the judge to not make a judgment call right there. Let it finish, let it play out, and if we had to, make an adjustment at the end. Dude, there was no advantage gained by her catching it
on her elbow,
and then I thought we were going to see a fail of like her popping it back and then just fall straight back.
Dude, so if you go back and watch it, when she catches in her elbow, the plate is like this close to the ground. She's like, it's in her elbow and she's like almost on the ground. I have no idea how she saved it.
And she was composed.
Yeah. And she kind of laughed during it like, holy shit.
I don't know how she got her hands back on it. So like credit to the judge, one, and then two, like let it play out and we'll make a decision after. And to those now, I'm like, yep, no. Like, because they came to me after, like, what, you think that was okay? And I'm like, there's no advantage gained. It wasn't like she was doing it.
She didn't, like, take her hand off like people do on bar muscle ups.
Right. Man, it was
awesome.
I thought it turned out well. And then people are like, you're just promoting bad movement in CrossFit and it's going to be a fail. And I'm like, dude, here's the deal. CrossFit in the gym, in the affiliate, well, this was in the gym and in the affiliate or whatever, is completely different than the competition of CrossFit. Like, it is an expression. It is, but like you're going to flirt that line of, hey.
Those last couple reps doing touch and go clean
in
and
the gym
jerks.
on that, I'm probably going to drop it. But in competition, you got to go.
Right. And it's a good reminder for some of those people who nerd out too much. I'm I'm a form when you're in class, kind of like, I'm pretty stringent on it.
Yeah.
But people forget that you've got an amazing functional tolerance too. Like they think that like your back rounds the slightest bit on a deadlift and you're immediately going to like explode and your spine's going to go out your back. It's like, no, this woman has worked very hard with very clean form for a very long time. And like, look what she can handle. You know what I mean? Because again, this is for real life. If it's the whole train for the pursuit stuff, you guys are out in the woods all the time. You're in terrible positions.
At all
sport,
times. Look at sport. It just happens, man. So we'll skip forward to 4 because at some point that was one that was on there that was originally it was of a classic 50 cal ski, 50 GHD, 50 toasted bar. Test fine, but boring as hell.
And we were gonna make it the third workout until we actually programmed what it is now,
the sandbag
and
squat.
Then we were like, well, we can't do that in that order.
Yeah, so that one made sense last. We kind of were like, we hemmed and hawed over how do we make it cool and get a similar test.
The legless handstand walk front squat was in the 3-3-3-4 format, the way you guys had thought of it.
And it was supposed to be a squat clean, right?
Something like that. And I was like, well, this sucks. The ab one.
Yep.
And I was like, this sucks for a competition. Yep. Probably I said exactly that. It's going to be super boring.
I'm sure he did.
You got mad at me.
Probably.
And I was like, but this format over here, if we just steal it, it's going to be great for this workout.
Yep. Yeah. So we kind of pieced that together. And I talked to Chase Ingram yesterday because when I watched their preview of the events, because they'll talk the programming, and they hated it. They were like, this workout, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, before it. And they were talking about just the redundancy and movement and blah, blah, blah. And I just texted him. I was like, I disagree with you. And he's like, well, I appreciate you not like sending a mad, angry text. And, he's like, I'd love to hear the rationale behind it. I think it's a good way to test muscle endurance in a competition setting, making it kind of fun to watch, and I thought it was cool that like Hatfield had 1 rep left to finish.
Mm-hmm. Saxon
had 3, I think. It was 1, so it was 3 and 1.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, there's those type of head games that you're like, man, if I would have pushed. So I thought it was great how it played out. Obviously, I'm biased to it, and so he was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because if you just had a ton of, they were like, oh, you could have just done 200 toes to bar for time, and it would have been the same test.
No, it was
maybe,
dramatic.
But it was way more dramatic and way more fun to watch. I thought it was cool. It was kind of boring in the middle to like, you're waiting for somebody to get off the ski. All right, who's off the ski first?
I don't know.
Right,
it wasn't boring to me.
I thought it was cool.
I will say this, like, not to dump on him, but the rationale of that is exactly what's wrong with most CrossFit programming for competitions is no one takes into consideration that we are trying to find the best athlete, but we're also trying to put on a show.
Yep.
Because if you don't put on a show and the event itself doesn't inherently tell a story, then you're missing half of what makes a CrossFit competition good.
Right. And on the other end, if you're only testing the same thing over and over, trying to put on a good show and leave some stuff out, then you have an incomplete test. And so what we're trying to do, obviously, is have a really good test while also putting on a good show, which is inherently difficult.
Yes.
But also fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy that stuff. It was great to have Austin in there, Darren, JR, and then you guys from the media perspective of like, hey, this is going to fall flat because it's not fun to watch.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. And then I'm not even sure how that one came, the 30-30 came up.
That might have been the last one we plugged in.
It might have been. I think we looked at it all and we were like, man, I think it was. So I think we originally the legless handstand front squat was supposed to be squat clean. And then we were like, we already have pulling from the floor with Gwen.
That's what
we
it
can't
was.
Squat clean.
Yeah.
We didn't want to snatch because it was too Isabelle-y. Like, if I'm perfect world, I would have been like, yep, 2 legless, handstand walk, and 225 snatch.
Yeah. Overhead squat could have been a good play.
Overhead squat could have been a good one, but we wanted to get away from previous year what we tested. And so we had squat clean because you could just keep repping. And then it didn't make sense, having a minute and a half to squat 275.
Yeah.
Because you do a couple, drop it, a couple, drop it. And it's just not fun to watch. If it was squat cleans, something's moving it the whole time. And so then when we stole the 3-3-3-4 back to the core midline century, then that one became the
rounds
4 front squat. And so we were trying to figure out what the weight was on that. Originally, in my numbers ADD, it was supposed to be 5 rounds, 2 legless, 30-foot handstand walk, 4 front squats. So you had 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
But Ben tested it, and we did 6 rounds, and then the 25 feet worked better on the floor than the 30. So it was still cool.
That workout was awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, those obviously my bias and my favorite of those is that one because
skill.
I hated the name, but I wouldn't. People are like, "Oh, that's not a skill." I'm like, "Yeah, walking over a ramp." It kind of blew my mind at how much that did to the leaderboard. I did not expect that. I thought we were kind of like going to have that same 4 or 5 fighting for it, and then all of a sudden it was just like, whoop, like it jumbled it up.
Yeah, it did.
I was watching the race between Hoffer and Hatfield.
Yep.
So I'm just watching them, Romans right there kind of, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
Adler's kind of falling
we
off.
lost Adler. Oh, Colton, what is going on with Colton?
Yeah.
And so, man, it was I
mean, that workout, a couple of things. The winner of that workout for both men and women won the competition. So it's a great litmus for the whole competition.
I think it was.
The other thing about it is, I mean, I think Colton lost probably his qualifying spot because of the workout, because he's going to be great at the last one.
Yeah.
And it condensed the leaderboard so much to where, like, I thought Gwen was going to be the most exciting of the whole day or the whole competition. But then from, like, our perspective, that workout, it was maybe the best of all of them, because what it did is it made the leaderboard so tight. It allowed for the final workout to
mean something,
to be what it needed to be.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, if Justin Kotler wants to have another bad programming take, he needs to make his own competition. Because if the women had to do 2 legless, not the same workout. I understand they can do 12. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
But you just don't understand the competition stimulus and what we were going for.
Perfect.
It was perfect.
I thought it was perfect. The 1+1, and Paige was upset too about that. And guess what? She did just fine.
She said she was wrong about the sandbag too in our interview yesterday.
Did she really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now she's trying to get back in our good graces.
I will say
she was like, "Yeah, that was probably the right weight."
When I when I saw the girls had a scale, I was like, I don't think they need a scale. And then I started to think about it on my own, just like, no, it'd be the same stimulus. Like it wouldn't be the same stimulus with 2 legless. They would start to slow down.
And even the 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 is kind of weird.
Yeah, it was too weird.
Competition
No, it was good. No, I thought that was a great call. That workout was great, especially what it did to the leaderboard on the men's side. And then the girls' race was great.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Watching it, of course.
Yeah, so then we go back to event 3. Oh, we can do the final first. The final, because the 3 fits in because of what we did. And so I wanted that to be a barbell bench. I don't love dumbbell bench standards just with like people doing weird stuff, whatever. But on that rig, you just can't do it. And the logistics of it is a nightmare.
Getting the benches
Yeah, so I would have loved to seen that at like 155 maybe, something like that. I think it's a great test. The 200 double unders, we went, the 3-2-1 was the idea. Mm-hmm. I would have loved for it to be the bench at 155, the double under, and then 100 foot with the 100-pound dumbbells. We already had the 70s out there. I wanted it fast. We wrote it, and I think right after that maybe I needed to go out and do something quick, and nobody was in there. I was like, screw it, I'm going to do this workout. So I did it with 70s, and then I didn't have my jump rope, so I grabbed the class jump rope. And the class jump rope is not heavy. It's just a little bit of an annoyance. And so I did it, and I'm like, oh, that was good. Like shoulder-wise, it didn't really tax the grip that much. It was more shoulders. And so I did it, and I told them, man, this was one that we had, Ben and Scott, I wanted to fire them both because they didn't do the workout. And then when Ben did it, he did it with a regular rope, which is infinitely easier than doing it with that just a little bit of annoyance. And so we went back and forth. They wanted to make it 40 reps.
So I will say, I'll start off by saying I was wrong.
Thank you.
My concern was
I was wrong about the GHD ski.
My concern was that the workout would be too easy. And I don't care if a workout's too easy. They always go faster, make it hard. I was concerned that it wouldn't allow for the leaderboard change between the 5th event and 6th event because there's nothing can happen.
Right.
Were
we wrong?
As it turns out, it was and then I was really stressed when I saw the time cap. But I actually think that was great because it made I don't even care the first heat. Like if they can't finish, whatever. But it made everyone sprint.
Yeah, I was a little panicky.
I think it was perfect.
After the
time
first
cap.
Women's heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Rory knows there was some text going behind scenes. I'm like, we screwed this up.
But how far down do you pay? How far down the leaderboard did you pay people?
No, it was through 6th.
Oh, there we go.
Then the first heat not finishing it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah,
Like
I know, but still, to me,
I know.
Like 5 minutes, you'd had a couple people just standing around. Probably would have finished everybody, but because that was one of the feedbacks we got was to raise. We had a couple feedbacks. We didn't take any of them. That one we probably should have taken.
Raise the
time cap to 5. Yes and no. Like in hindsight, we want everybody to finish. Sure. Like
that's not it.
No,
that's not it. Also behind the scenes, and like nobody cares, and viewers shouldn't really care. But for us, heard input from other events where it's like they intentionally put a little buffer at the end.
Yeah.
because you always have that weird waiting around period before the podiums because you got to take care of all the scoring stuff. You got to make sure that's right. So it wouldn't have hurt, but I liked the way that it played out. Not that we were so close to like a flawless victory, and behind the scenes we had to like, dude,
it was like that meme where it's like, I'm fine, everything's fine, and up there, like Sean's, doing this great call, and I'm just like texting these guys like, this sucks. Like we had to,
the way I always think about those situations is like a duck swimming. Yeah, up top, like so chill. Underneath, it's just those freaking feet are flailing.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted that workout originally. Like how I wanted it to play out is something important happened where someone like went for it on the bench and failed, or they, a dumbbell slipped out of their hand or something like that. And that was the drama I was hoping for. And that's why I wanted like a heavy rope or the dumbbell to be a little heavier or something. But I think having seen it play out and how the weekend played out, it was better that the drama was just from pure sprinting and execution on all of that than like muscle failure.
We needed that, right? Yeah. If you look at one, it's just a long, slow, kind of grindy. You're not making huge swings in there. You just got to be fit. Like, or you got to be cardio fit. I don't want to say you got to be fit. You just got to be cardio fit because you're not lifting anything, whatever. You're not overall fit. You're just,
you need to be aerobic.
But it's really good. Good event for that. Event 2 was like apparently, according to John Young, I overused the term strategery, but I'm going to use it again. George W, for anybody that doesn't remember. But yeah, if you mess up the strategy there, then you're like, there's some big, you got to be fit. And so I saw somebody it's a bad fitness test. I disagree.
Gwen?
Yes, that it is 3 separate intervals with decreasing time, but you got to be smart in their strategy to it. Somebody posted on Hiller's thing, and I got to start getting off comments. I was like, there's time to take this down because this is wrong. You're wrong. And so I would say opposite. Like it was 3 separate intervals. It was entire body fitness.
Yeah.
Arms, like everything, heart rate, whatever. Event 3 is a lot of leg stamina, but some skill in there with the muscle up. I know it's the most basic skill for any gymnast, but whatever. It's still for CrossFit, it's good. You had the fatiguing factor of the ring muscle up to see what happened to the bar muscle up. And then, the sandbag issues with some people not standing up, whatever. Like I know if you add a sandbag to it in some of these movements, it does add some obscurity. Like there's just no good way for like a sandbag clean, like unless you're just up and over something, whatever. We wanted to add an odd object. It needed to be there. We needed some high rep squatting. We needed some squat endurance with we got lactic acid building up in the legs. Now it's in the upper body. Now it's back. So there's nowhere for that lactic acid to go. That's why I like that test. Well, then we had a muscle endurance test with a little bit of heart rate and strategy. And then we had the high skill, heavy weight. We didn't have a 1 rep max, but it was 275 was way heavier than in that workout and where the weekend was. It was great. So to say all that, we needed one event that was 30 was for most people was doable to do unbroken. Really but if you missed it, you could still make up some time on some of the other stuff. We needed
the jump rope made it so you could break the bench once. If you were good and could do the double and unbroken, you could usually catch a couple people.
Yeah. Honestly, of all the workouts I just said, as an athlete, I hated that final one.
Really?
Because you had to go. I don't want to be in that position. I want to be in the position of like, hey, I'm really good at legless. I'm also could handstand walk the obstacle, and then I could squat. And then I could get enough lead that I could just kind of coast from there because I'm good enough at it. Yeah. I hated and still hate the ones that there's no reason to stop.
You have to do everything unbroken. If you want to win, you have to do everything unbroken
exactly.
And do it fast.
And guess what? If Hatfield puts the dumbbells down and touches the buzzer quick, we have a 3-way tie for first. And Roman wins. Does Roman know that yet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if he knows it, but yeah. There's here. I'll add my takeaways that I thought went, and people just think I'm freaking glazing you, but I'm not. I thought that it was cool that the first 2 tests were both single modality, very
completely
different.
Ends of the
spectrum.
Sorry,
I guess the run wasn't single modality because of the burpees now.
It's still cardio.
It's a run. I'm thinking of the first thing as a 5K run, a single modality.
Gwen.
And then Gwen
it's CrossFit cardio.
Gwen is barbell, whatever. Yeah, you want to call it barbell cardio, whatever.
Barbellio. Or
Bardio. Yeah, being able to do touch and go reps. So those both being single modality tests, and then we reshuffled the leaderboard, and he let Sam decide competing. He just was standing there. He goes, "Hey, would you want this leaderboard to be reshuffled after the second event instead of just after the run?" He said, well, yeah, I'd take a few less minutes of rest to be in a faster heat if I do better after 2 events. And so they made the call there. I thought was great because that like evened the leaderboard out, the runners and the heavy lifters, and it kind of evened it out for the rest of the time. You didn't see a ton of shuffle after that. And then the other thing I'll say is the core flexion workout, the midline century, being the night before the heavy the heavy front squats from the floor was perfect. It exposed if you had a strength limiter or if you had a midline limiter, because the cleans and the front squats get so much harder when you have no midline to brace. Mm-hmm. And I think I heard that a lot from people. Lucy Campbell literally said it in her. She goes, I don't know how you guys are doing that. I was so sore.
Well, yeah, she won the squat muscle up or bar muscle up workout, and then
she got hosed by the midline workout because she was in lane next to Haley, and Haley's doing 2 to 1 her GHDs. She's in the race the whole time, and then she was one of those people that just fell off and had a few toes bar left, thought she was going to be done in 3, had 3 or 4 toes bar left, and there was 4 girls who were in that race with Haley and Paige when they were leading, and they had to roll over that 4th interval, and that sinking feeling of, I have to do 50 more, or they did 45 more reps just to do those last 5 toes bar. You're like, oh my gosh. So that was that. Those playing off of each other made each other great. And then, as a whole, I don't think anyone I wouldn't have thought that there would have been that much emphasis on weightlifting. There was a good emphasis on weightlifting. I think we get put in a hole of doing too much gymnastics sometimes. You had to 185, then 150 pound sandbag. Then the next one had no weightlifting, which is good. And then a heavy squat on the last day. And then the bench on the last workout. I don't think that people would think that you would program that much weightlifting. And it was so broad that you don't even notice that there is a lot of weightlifting because they're all very different.
It was a very collaborative effort, which is fun. From last year how collaborative that is. I think that committee was great. I think you would have added to it, but not being able to do it was great. Where was I going? There was somewhere I was going with this. Yeah, man, it was just fun. I think it all played out better than expected. That was it. What I'm most proud of is we had one machine.
Yeah.
I think machines are incredible training tools, and I think they do have a place in competitions in certain scenarios. They're boring as hell to watch.
I'd argue that using the ski, the way you use the ski, was one of the least important pieces of the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Which is,
it was enough to fatigue them, get the heart rate up a little bit, and then they were off of it.
It was enough. I think it was just enough of that.
4 minutes of the entire weekend.
Yeah. I'd say the only thing that might have been less important than the ski was the burpees.
Yeah.
And the burpees were there literally, in my opinion, as a spectacle. It was cool. You said it. It doesn't really change the leaderboard at all, but it is maybe a little bit.
1 or 2 spots, which, if you think about 1 or 2 spots over the whole weekend, is huge.
Mattered
because of what happened in the,
And I thought that the burpees were insignificant after watching and filming and all that, but we did 6 athlete interviews with the qualifiers, and I asked every single one of them. I was like, so were the burpees just kind of there, whatever? Every single one of them said, no, they were hard.
Yeah.
They were really hard, and specifically called out the fact that they had to run hard because they wanted to get there sooner so they didn't have to go further down the line.
Yeah.
And then called out the fact that their heart rate was about 200 after the burpees, and that was the only flat for the rest of the thing, and they did it trying to recover from burpees, and then immediately had to run up a hill.
Yeah. It is once you look at some of that stuff, you're like, wow, we couldn't have planned that any better. But that wasn't the intent.
Yeah.
It being a third of the way into the run. That was just
where we could put it.
But also, after they were through the burpees, they were technically halfway through the workout was perfect.
It was time,
and like you're saying, the flat being after that
is the only time
you almost perfect.
Chill, but you're still so jacked up from the burpees.
I think if it's a games workout, it'd be so cool to then once you get to dad's, have another log that you are lifting a heavy sandbag over, where it's just I don't know. That would have been
a rough surprise.
I think the finale opened the door for what I call the Sager story.
Yeah.
Cole's always in 8th place going to the last event, and then he wins it, and the other people take bottom 5.
Yeah.
It gave that option. The girls, we didn't see any shuffle, which was
it was cool because on the last event,
Lucy had to do something, right?
The third,
she just had to perform.
She was in. So Lucy and Jeff were both in third place. Jeff had Lucy had a 10-point buffer over Domit, and then 15 over Gabby, maybe.
Oh, yeah, the race was, you're right.
And Jeff had like a 25 or 30 point over Hatfield, so he had more buffer. But Jeff and Lucy both won the last workout, and they were the ones that needed to throttle in order to hold off who was behind them.
And Abby started the lunge ahead of
Lucy broke her dumbbell, I think.
Yeah,
I think she did 2 sets.
Yeah, she broke the last lunge and Lucy passed. Yeah, you're right. So there wasn't a point shuffle, but like the drama of the lunge was there.
Abby got there first. In Lucy's interview, she said, she's like, I planned on breaking, but as soon as I saw Abby break, I'm like, if I just endure a little pain, I'm going to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and I'm also not going to lie. I was there for the judges. I demoed the judges' brief that morning. And for some reason, I thought they said you went down and back and then ran to the finish line. And so in that first heat of women, they got down. I'm like, oh, we're good. And then they started lunging, and the panic in my head, I'm like, oh, no. Because we've got 1,000 things going on in my head. Like, I should know exactly what the floor dimensions are. But, man, Josh does such a good job with that like, that stuff, as soon as I hand off the workouts, my brain almost, like, goes, I've got just too much stuff going on. But it was my bad. But, man, it was like when they didn't set the dumbbells down and started going back, I'm like, did the judges brief this wrong? And then I'm like, oh, it's 33 feet, not 50 feet. So, man, the panic in my head of the next couple heats.
Yeah. It's more fun as a private thought, but it would almost be fun, Scott, to like put that workout and just have like the text thread rolling like in real time.
Oh,
like,
man.
What was coming through?
No, that does not need to be public knowledge.
Panic.
There was panic and some swearing.
No, I knew. And when I actually was seeing it happen, and I knew that a lot of the best benchers were for the women were in the second heat. So I was like, it's going to be fun. Yeah. Like I knew.
I did not.
And you guys already said this, but the fact that you couldn't have planned it this way, it is a testament to great programming, but also the athletes who showed up. But the fact that there was drama all the way up to the last workout, especially with the men, and not necessarily for the podium, although there was still room for people to get there. But a tie for first place, and the women
could have been a 3-way tie for first place.
It was a 3-way tie. Could have been a 3-way tie for first place. Exactly.
It was 525, 525, 520.
Yeah. They went to the third tiebreaker for the league.
Yeah. It was like the women.
Once again, if Hatfield had he finished before Hoffer and Roman.
Yeah.
If he had just pushed the buzzer before, it would 3-way tie.
Yeah.
We would have had a 3-way tie, and it would have went again to the third, I think, and Roman would have won.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
what I heard.
No, that's right.
I could be misinformed, but
well, that's right. If he would, that's right. That is right.
And Hatfield would have made podium?
No. Hatfield would not have made podium. But the fact that he wasn't in the race, that he kind of finished and then just I wouldn't even say lazily, but he wasn't racing those guys.
Yeah, when Jeff beat him, he knew. Because we had talked that like he needed to win and Jeff had to take 8th. And it was the only event where that was possible going to happen. I mean, Jeff is just so good at just about everything that like I said, hey, you're just going to have to go for it. Like,
burn it.
You have to hope he kind of has a little slip up. Like, he doesn't need to fail, but you need we need a Cole Sager finish where you win it, and then he takes 8th just by like, I'm not saying he takes 8th by like 10 seconds. I'm saying buzzer. Where's Adler 8th? Like, that's what he needed.
Yeah. And it could have happened on that event because it was a tight finish.
Yeah. It could have easily happened. And, I think because I
think they were all within a second in the top.
They were all within, it was, I think, so Adler was a little ahead, maybe a second or two, and then Hoffer, and then a 10th of a second below him was Roman, and the 10th of a second behind him was Hatfield. It was tight.
Got to have that live scoring.
Dumbbell bench was right.
Well, maybe you trained Austin too well not to dump the dumbbells.
Yeah, that's true, man.
There was a lot of people disrespecting.
Were pitching the dumbbells.
They were throwing them, dude. They were throwing
Which from the hang is okay, but I hate
any higher.
Do not.
That's maybe the only appropriate scenario.
Yeah, for sure. Competition's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's
I thought over and then we're way late on it, but the media build up that you guys did was
so good,
was pretty awesome. Even though I hated doing some of it.
I think the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, was that like what you're saying about the programming and about putting certain workouts. Like I think you guys did a good job of letting the athletes tell the story. Yeah. Gwen would be an absolute huge miss if it wasn't for the athletes doing the story for you.
For sure.
Just like go out there and you see a bunch of people do 15 clean and jerks and they sit there. Well, and then you do them seated as well.
There were enough little tweaks, but nothing major of the, something to throw them off a little bit, throw them off the scent a little bit, but they could all do it. It's not like we're not trying to watch these athletes fail. It's like you dangle the carrot in front of them.
Yeah, you let them go for it. They try to go on broke and go for broke and win.
Looking at event 5, to Austin's credit, he said a couple times in the weekend, our job is to test the athletes, the current athletes, to send the best representative to the games, but also those ones in the bottom 5 second heat of, hey, this is what I need to get to be able to say, hey, I'm well-rounded or I'm one of the fittest. We've got to continue to push the envelope forward, and we know what the athletes are capable of. I know Paige was super. She went on a podcast and trashed the sandbag, but joking with her the last couple weeks, telling her she's dead to us. But, in hindsight, maybe a 115 sandbag would have been right there. I didn't even ask if we could do a 115. I was like, we got 125s and 150s. That's what we're going with. And then taking away 6 muscle-ups. So the stimulus was
1-to-1.
Was close. So
because the strategy that was given to the guys was the same as the girls. Like the amount of sets you were doing.
Yep. The girls got to use a full bag that's hard to carry and hard to grip. Where with the 100 for them is like. It's too small. Way smaller and different. It's not
as much rotational work.
I think the girls have gotten so strong and closed the gap on a lot of that stuff that, hey, let's push it forward a little bit.
Yeah, I think understanding what athletes can do is the biggest part of the success of the programming, and then going just beyond that.
Just beyond, yeah.
To where they have to do a little bit more than they think they can. And the thing with Gwen, which I think Gwen everyone's giving Gwen, all the credit, and I think it was so incredible. I'm a little concerned that everyone's going to try to get cute with programming and replicate what Gwen created.
Yeah,
it's difficult
lightning
to do
in
that.
A bottle.
Yeah. So it's like I think running Isabel was something like that last year. That was a cool twist on it, like muscle up biathlon, stuff like that.
And that's what I think with the group of guys that we had. In the meeting, which it'd probably be good to have one of the girls in there too, to give us a little bit better perspective on some of that. But I feel like we all have JR's really good with that. But there was enough. Hey, we want to push we want to have our own flavor of what we're trying to do, but we also don't want to go too far from history. We want to show some history in what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And then, it was a fun group to work with. That's the stuff that I nerd out and geek out on. It's probably the only thing I'm halfway decent at is looking at that stuff. And so I just really enjoy it, man. It's like a passion. And then to have the same passion within that group to do that. And you guys have a different angle of the passion of hey, we want to see a show, right? We got to have something to put out there. Man, I really enjoy that side of it. The nuts and bolts of putting the whole event together, like you and Josh and those guys. I could care less. I'll pick up and move heavy things out of there and back in, but you guys do such a good job that. So I say all that to say it's just we had an incredible team. Not one person in the group can take credit other than everybody just put out, man. And so honored to work with all you guys.
Amen. Yeah.
Minus you, Angelo. Yeah. Other than your athlete, your athlete won it. So
yeah, that's cool.
Good job.
It was very cool.
Yeah, and I guess we're kind of glossing over it too, like the videos that the media team we talked about but the post stuff too.
Oh yeah,
it's going nuts.
It's over to me. The event's over. I don't even. No, I'm just kidding. Now that we're done, that ship sailed to me. I'm on to the next thing. We got 24 hours in Amarillo to get ready for.
I'm just really happy that I didn't kill anybody on the team, from lack of sleep or something.
Dude,
everybody was a baller.
Because I'll give you my stats, but everyone is in the same boat. But from Thursday morning there's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Yeah. From Thursday morning when I woke up till Saturday night when I went to bed. Thursday Sunday morning when I woke up till Sunday night when I went to bed. So the scope of the competition, if you include check-in, I slept 9.5 hours.
Jesus.
And I looked at my Whoop last night and added it all up. And the
rest of the team did too, right?
They did the same thing.
Yeah. So without question too, you just, and I don't know if it's Scott's here so we can't leave. I don't think all those guys they love their job and they just love being a part of putting out a great product. But yeah, I would leave. We'd get you guys some food and some milkshakes. The one night we got you some milkshakes, and I'm like, I'll be back in the morning. I got back in the morning at 6:30 and they're still there.
Yeah.
So it's like, and Scott's just plugged in. He says he only slept. That means he unplugged from the Matrix for 9 hours over those 4 days.
Yeah.
If we do this again next year, I'm not exaggerating. I'm going to bring a bed.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay there because the driving.
Honestly, we need to get
cuts
those.
Into your sleeping
we need to get
time.
those sleep mats from the van. But I mean, Scott was there, Toby, Frank, Ben, Jeff, Carlos.
We only have, like, it looks wild, but
Dre.
We have a big team, I guess, and like scope of other people, but there's like the quick turn event winners. Like, we don't have an editor. Carlos is shooting. Carlos and Toby one of them takes men, one takes women. They shoot the final heat or whatever, and they sprint back to the room and get an edit out, like basically before the next event starts, and they're back out on the floor shooting. And then everyone's there all night editing. It was crazy. So huge shout out to them.
Good work, team. Yep. Same with the, you guys, we rolled all the floor out, I think, on Friday. And then I had a softball game to get to for Violet, maybe. Yeah, I had to pitch. And so I was like, oh, I'll come back. And they're like, no, we pretty much already had it all done. Then we just had to tape the floor. And then the next night, they were, were you there when Darren crashed on the handstand walk mat?
No.
So I'm like testing.
I crashed during
I'm
an
testing
event
to make sure it's not too close to the poles. Which shout out McGonigal, she hit it. Sorry, but we're still in an affiliate. And it was outside the lane enough. I think I tested both.
Yeah.
Handstand
Play it as a lies,
position.
Man.
Yeah, it is what it is. And Darren goes to hop up on the handstand walk mat and just like full neck sideways, like scorpions himself. Well, then it turns into Watkins and Bird come over there, and Watkins like, hey, I do 2 legless, you do a legless, Bird? And Bird's like, sure. And so we make Watkins do it. He gets to the last pole, hooks his feet, and then touches. I was like, that doesn't count. He's like, yeah, sure it counts. I'm like, no, it doesn't count. So we make him go back. I've got all it on video. I sent it to one of the guys. Good. Well, then Watkins, I'm like, all right, now handstand walk over the obstacle. He must have tried for 30 minutes. He's like, like making excuses, and he folded over a couple times. And so it's that type of stuff that's just,
that's great.
Funny. But yeah, man, it was without.
I sent you a fail video too.
Of what?
Right before I FaceTimed you. Because remember we didn't know we could take up the front dollimer?
Yeah.
And we thought that the kick up was going to be like a foot.
Yeah.
To the handstand walk. And did you ever look at that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, good. Thank God.
I have it still.
He's like, hey, are there any athletes there still? Like our athletes? And I said, I'm all you got.
He goes,
I'm sorry.
I'm like, sorry. I didn't mean it like that. On the handstand walk obstacle,
Ben was.
But then I sent you a video of it.
Ben was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there was that, and then the Roman issue with the 92 inches. So, that was so funny. Now I can tell the story, but oh
gosh,
we measured 92 feet from the gym floor, or 92 inches, sorry. And so when they rolled the dollimer down, there's like 2 inches. And I think I was like, hey, because I think you called the night before, and I was like, let's raise them up 92 from the dollimer. And I don't know if it didn't get relayed, but it never happened. So Roman comes in, he's like, I can touch the floor. I can't do muscle-ups. I can't do toes to bar. I can't do whatever. And they were like, wow, the Rogue says it has to be 92 from the floor and blah, blah, blah. And we got to go. And I was like, raise it.
They just said that was standard. Like,
I know. But it was just like, there's just like afraid. And I was like, raise it. Like, if Roman can't do it, and there's other athletes that are the same height, we got to have a little bit of just raise it. And so I called Dad. What the? It's 92 from the floor, and I'm like, yes, but it has to go. We're gonna go 92 from. But this would have been, and I'm like, hey, Bird, Watkins, AJ, you guys go help Dad. And so he was not real happy about it, but he did it. And so
in fairness, it was 91.5.
Oh, okay.
And so
got done.
Better to go higher than lower.
It got done.
So
the work got
Which
done.
is wild though. Like, how tall is Roman? Because I jumped on there and I was like pointing my toes.
He got
the night
limbs.
before.
Yeah. No. The yes.
He's got those freaking long limbs.
I was standing. Wait, I'm muted. I said no way though, bro, because you're taller than me, and I was standing flat-footed holding.
Okay, then after then it must have been after they raised it.
Yeah, because that morning when he was.
But we got more narrative about it after that, and I was like, dude, it is definitely high enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, the original height was like Ben was he's 5'10" maybe, and he was touching the ground with his hands on it. And I was like easily full grip, flat-footed standing.
Oh yeah, that's no good.
Another big thing, I think, added to it a little bit was the fact that we didn't use the shackles on the rig.
Yes, I think great. I love
Originally,
that.
we were going to put them on, and somebody just threw the rope up there so we could get an eyeball, and I was like, can we do it like that? And Josh was like, ask Katie. And so I texted Katie. I was like, hey, can we just loop the ropes over? She's like, didn't you do it last year?
Sure.
And I didn't answer, and she's like, yeah, go for it. And so I'm like, I'm not taking a picture. I'm not doing anything. I'm screenshotting this, and it worked out perfect because, last year I had 12 and a half foot.
I think it's 13.6 or 13.8.
And so this time they had to go.
It was like 14 and a half,
almost 15.
Well, the beam is 15,
and it makes it which they have. Then it's 15-foot climb.
It should be. I think no, I think it might be. 14.
It just makes the test more true to what we were trying to get it to.
No, it was perfect.
It was great. I was happy about that. That was my one thing, and I was like, oh yeah, that's good. I like that.
I like that a lot. I think the reason why it isn't
love legless.
I think it was just good because it kept the stimulus correct. I mean, it wasn't the Legos were not supposed to be that hard, but they were supposed to be difficult later in the rounds when they got denser. When it got denser. When you loop that rope around, I think technically the reason it would be standard practice to not do that is it takes away some of the strength of the rope. However, those ropes can handle would it be tensile strength?
Tensile strength or the
dynamic
shock load or whatever. Yeah,
can handle a lot. Yeah. So it's fine. No, I think more people, if they're willing, I think more people would like to do that for their competitions because it's just a little bit higher. It's not a ton, but it changes that last pull you have. It changes it.
We saw towards the end some people having to kip that last little one, which I usually do anyway because it gets me into
gets you a good
rhythm down into my So
Lucy Campbell in her interview afterwards, it was so funny. She said that on the rope climb, she said she felt like a slug,
dude,
because she was only picking her feet up like a few inches every time because. She's like, I don't know how they were doing them. I was so blown up.
Core.
You could tell people just when you can really tell is Hatfield was doing big arm right, and I do the same thing with my left is not as big, but towards the end you could tell people when they're in trouble, they're doing the old school
hand on hand.
Hey, we're cap at the back, who gets to hit first.
It was Lucy. Good. Her abs, I mean, how was she yesterday? She might need to go. I mean, I'm serious. So on Sunday, I thought she might need to go to the hospital. Because she couldn't, on the Legos rope climb, she couldn't bring her knees up.
Oh, wow.
And then on the leg rope climb, like you said, she was doing inch, because she couldn't pull her knees up. Her abs were so sore.
It was really funny because she said before the competition, she thought that there should be more events based on it. And then afterwards, she was like, thank you guys for not putting more events. That was perfect.
She was messed up because she said it after an interview.
Big day. It's a big day Saturday.
Yeah.
I think Sunday was perfect and
finish
it
up
wasn't
hard.
a ton. You look at it and you're like, this isn't a lot, but it was enough.
It was enough after what they had done on Saturday.
The other thing that doesn't get talked about is their ability. The people that win have to have the ability to recover quickly and go again because there's not as much turnaround time in between events as normal competitions.
Right.
Yeah, it was condensed.
So that also is testing an element of fitness. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not coming, you're showing up, leaving, or, going to lay down
hanging
somewhere.
Out for a minute and then you're
recovering, getting food, thinking about when my warm-up time is in the next 30 or 40 minutes and getting back to it, which I, as the older I got, I'm like, let's get it over with. When I was younger, I'm like, I'll be here all day. Who cares?
Yeah. When because they don't care about teams, you just get it done by 11, you're done.
Yeah, it's great.
7 to 11, you're gone.
I loved it.
Saxon and Jeff were two guys I talked to about this that love the ability to sleep in and just come in, do the events, and leave.
Yeah.
Not make it. And they're Saxon's obviously not as old, but they're two veteran competitors. And so it's funny that they were like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah,
everyone likes it. Yeah. It's either let me sleep in or let me go to bed early. If I can be done in the morning or if I can be done or if I can start later, but not both. Don't make me come in for a brief at 7 and then I don't go till 10:30.
Yeah, that's the worst.
You're okay, so I can't sleep. I can't really I have to get up. It's just it ruins your whole day.
Whole day. It's hey, don't make it about you.
Sometimes it's 2 or 3 workouts. If it's 2 workouts, dude, I don't need to be here at 7 and leave at 6.
Or finish an event, go sit through an athlete brief to be back here at 7 in the morning is the worst too.
Yeah.
Where you're when I'm done, and I got to wait for all these other heats to finish if I wasn't in the final heat, which happened, I think, twice, but still. So I thought that was great. Or if the women go after us.
And it's and it's herding cats. You know, everyone wants to, like, you're like, hey, dude, I've been sitting here for an hour. Please come here and let's finish this.
And then 3 people are asking the same question
over and over.
So, I thought it was great. And, you know, that's go back to programming a little bit, the fine line of, hey, we want to test these athletes, put on a good show, but it is just a qualifier. It's not the games. Like, there are more things we could have done or could do or should do to, like, have the full gambit of fitness testing, but not this point in the season.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to know your place, I think.
You were pretty definitive. So, I mean, there's opportunities when we were going to do the event to take on other divisions, so teams or masters. Like, having said what you guys just all said, theoretically, you could do the same thing and have, like, an evening session. I'm not pushing for it. I'm just curious.
I just think our crew, we would kill everybody. Like, if Scott and them had to do that. Maybe you do it at a different time of year where you do a team competition would be a ton of fun. I would enjoy that. Or an age group thing, but man, I think it's such a huge undertaking and a drain on our team, you know, like the last month or so, that's all they concentrated on, not on, so, you know, like obviously parts of our team are still concentrating on different things we're doing, but, you know, kind of the guys that we rely on to get that message out or put those things out are being weighed down by a competition. And, you know, whether you look at it just in the event itself, now, yes, it is a brand play. It will have some carry on our media, and it does get us in the spotlight. If you look at that one single event for that weekend, we lose money, you know, and like, you know, the dark secret of anything is you have to make money. And, so that, you know, you take that month,
even with massive cuts to spending,
massive cuts, like half the budget, I think, this year. Cause I was like, hey, we can't lose that same amount of money we lost last year. Like we cannot do it. And to do what I would say just as good of a show, credit to you guys, Josh, to the team of making it still happen. And I feel like the in-person event was still great, like people there on site, but then also what we put out to the world with it just makes you like, hey, it's not a piggy bank. Like we have to, you know, everybody wants to get mad at HQ because, they're just doing this for money. Yeah. Do you want this thing to be around for a while? Like we have to make some money. Like, is everybody, you know, their pockets getting fat? No, we're trying to be as smart as we can, but that is the reality of the world we live in. Mm-hmm. And if you want people to be around and want, you know, something to be around for a long time, you got to make some money.
Yeah.
And so,
or not lose a tremendous amount at the very least.
Or not
all
lose.
The time.
Hey, I think
current state of things might be because that's what happened early on.
Sorry. I think we may have netted in the 3 figures, like for the whole classic, you know,
like $100.
Yeah.
Like those 3 figures. Yeah.
I think you're overly optimistic.
I think we still might be in the red a touch after a couple things popped up, like people stealing food from the volunteers. We had to go buy some extra.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We came back on Friday from offsite because they were setting up all day Friday.
Yeah.
And there was supposed to be some food set aside for us too, and there was no food. And they're like, well, some people showed up we didn't expect to and ate all the food. They brought us food, but it was just funny. I was like, to be fair, I really was not like working that hard. I was sitting in the back of a Ford Mustang, like holding the camera.
Mach-E.
Yeah. So
food is food though, man.
Yeah. I was still hungry, but it's not for any like hard work.
You're still working though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My hardest work was running from the car to the log and back. And dude, holding that camera set up and then having to jump into a moving vehicle while you're holding it was some of the sketchiest shit. I thought
that's an OSHA violation.
Because here's the thing, like let's say I miss the car and I fall. Haley's going to keep running and that car's going to keep driving. So the only way I can keep doing anything is if
you're not the most graceful. I'll say you're athletic. You're not graceful.
No.
Nothing is done with grace.
Somehow it worked. I don't know. I was after that heat, the second one, I was like, hey, we need to figure something out because I can't with the dudes, they're going to be going a little faster and I'm not going to be able to run and jump and keep them in frame all at the same time. So we figured out a little like
system.
Yeah, system.
Was Watkins your driver or was Bird?
Bird. He was a much better driver.
That math checks out.
When I went back and like edited, because I edited those 2 full workouts And
Watkins was your female driver?
No, sorry. We had 2 drivers for the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So Bird was the driver for the lead car.
Okay.
Because we had to stay with the leader, and then we had the cutaway car that got everything else. And Jeff was he was the camera for that, and he would be on someone perfect, and then all of a sudden that camera just drives off. And then it would like break really fast. And I guess Watkins is like, I just can't keep their pace. And he's like, their pace isn't changing. And I know it wasn't hard because Bird was doing an incredible job. Yeah. And we had headsets and everything.
Shout out Bird. Bird
yeah.
mentioned there.
Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. That event was fun. I can't believe it worked, actually. Rory came through with some good drone footage.
Shirtless.
I don't know how you do like
I got
split
sunburnt.
brain. Like when I did the drone stuff, you got to pay attention to it. I'm sure some people can, but like I'd be up even at the finish line and I can hear who they're saying is coming by me, but I'm living in this world here, trying not to lose like an expensive piece of equipment or hit a power line. And then, by the end of it, shout out Boz was my driver because I'm trying to, like, he's driving while I'm trying to fly the thing and remember where I'm at. And literally he was like, that's number 20. And I was like, all right. Getting ready for the next one. He's like, no, dude, like that's 20. That's like they're done. I'm like,
relax.
Yeah. Who won?
Shout out to Boz too, coming out.
Yeah,
out all weekend. He was your red hat on Sunday.
Super helpful. Yeah,
Boz was great. It was great to have him out as the representative from CrossFit.
And a lot of knowledge of history when those little things do pop up, where you're like, "Hey, dude, we're putting this fire out in this way. Like, good plan." And it's reassuring to at least be like, "Yeah, good plan."
Yeah. I talked to him about the GHD workout.
Yeah,
because he was the one that gave the feedback on.
And he wasn't necessarily critical of it.
He
was critical of the person who tested it.
Yes, that's what he told me.
Which would be me.
He said, I just wanted to make sure that someone other than Rich tested that workout.
I sent him like 4 different people that had tested it. And I think it was just me and Ben that truly tested it, but we had some others like Watkins got to like 50, I think, or something like that. So I was like, athlete A did this, athlete B did this, and they were fine,
Yeah.
But rightfully so. And I do, I do like the fact that the workouts, this is the first year they had to be turned in, and they went over them. The spreadsheet was a little excessive. I feel like some people,
this wasn't the
for
first.
some people it's needed.
Yeah.
For other, I feel like it was a little excessive. But you can never, post the event. You can never get a little too excessive at times with some of the stuff that we did. The flyers we had to put out, where I either just overlooked it and thought, hey, they've got it, and don't always assume that somebody else has got it. Yeah. In the fact of the way I see it, somebody else might see it a little bit different. So anything that was behind the scenes fires were oversight. I'll own it. I'm on my end of like passing it off and thinking that I was completely clear on it. I have a problem with that. So I'm working on it.
There's something where there's so many layers of detail and they do get past.
Yeah.
At some point, there's just got to be you come and you look each other in the eye and you're like this.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And everybody signs it almost,
So, it was cool to have Boz out, the perspective of it, and, to talk about it too after the fact of like, that's cool how that turned out and all those types of things.
Yeah, I stood with him for a while watching the event. It was fun. We were just like, I think of the midline workout we were watching together.
Yeah, JR for bringing us 9 more handstand walk targets, driving them through the mountains of North Carolina, South Carolina to get them here, and that was huge. And him being around just from the competitive eye, man, that guy's for like Boss said, for love of the game. He just freaking loves it.
Love of the game. He does.
So
love
it was cool.
To have him out. And he trained with us every morning too.
Yeah, I hate that I was so busy. He wanted to he was like a kid. He wanted to show me the syndicate workouts, and I just haven't seen them yet. Yeah. And so I gotta call him and look at those this week.
He texted, so he trained with me and the girls because obviously Sam was busy, and he texted us on Sunday afternoon. He said, "Hey, thanks for training together,
testing some stuff."
Yeah, for his competition. He's like, it was a good weekend. Don't ever make me do that again because it makes me want to compete again.
Yeah. Well, and backstory: Friday morning, we're getting ready for the event, about to head up here, and Hillary goes, somebody just took off on the Ranger. And I was like, who? Because Luke had been there when I left.
Yeah, what was the end
Hold on. So I'm like, I call Luke. I'm like, are you on the Ranger? He's like, no, man, I'm in here. I said, who took off on the Ranger? He's like, Angela. I'm like, that's SOB. So I text Angela. I'm like, what the heck? Because at this point, I didn't want him up checking out the log because, whatever. And I'm like, And I'm calling him. He doesn't answer. I wanted to come up here.
I was working out. My phone was at the bar. And
I wanted to come up here and shave your head. And so I was so angry. And he calls me. He's like, "Oh, sorry, man. We went and put sandbags out on the trail. We were testing one of JR's workouts." I was like, dude, because I thought he was like cruising, doing whatever, like checking out the log, giving Paige,
Well, I saw you. You called me 4 times. Because we tried to keep it.
And here's the deal: is like, yes, if you follow Mayhem Athlete, you're going to see some bias in there. Yes, if you live here, you have an advantage. Good.
Yeah.
You're one of us. Nobody was leaked the workouts. Nobody knew that was the course. Yes, you can say, oh, they had a chance to run the hill. Yes.
You could run every Fenway road
Park, do you hit on the field every once in a while if you're a Boston Red Sox? Yes, absolutely. If some of these other camps want to have some bias or have some home field advantage for athletes, put your money where your mouth is. Have your own competition. Invest in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my hot take. I'm sure that'll get clipped up and put somewhere. And I don't care. Like I've had, how do I take this? Oh, we try not to have any bias. No. Okay. Yeah.
And I work out with Austin and Haley every day. If I leaked the workouts, you think they would have been the ones that blew up on Gwen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not happy it happened, but.
Yeah. Roman, some of those others have access to my note. And guess what? When I tested those workouts, they didn't show up on there because I didn't, not going to do it. So,
yeah.
And I'll just say, I don't think the bias is the right word. It's just
home field advantage, man.
Program well.
Happens in sport.
Yeah.
Happens in sport all the time. Home field advantage. You think the Dolphins have an advantage in September because it's 1,000,000 degrees down there? Yeah. They make the other team wear their dark jerseys and they put them in the sun? Yeah.
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 They want that home field advantage.
Oh, well.
And I think this is another one of those situations where there's a very loud minority, because like if the athletes really thought it was totally unfair and they thought that the Mayhem athletes had a huge leg up, they wouldn't have came. Like I think all the athletes who ended up towards or at the top, I'm sure if you ask Adler, he's like, no, I knew they didn't, obviously. Like it's so obvious. And then
I don't think the athletes think that.
Yeah.
I think it's just people.
There are some athletes. I've heard some.
Maybe
chirping.
some athletes, but I don't think the athletes at the top that like made noise this weekend, like as in like having a chance to go to the games. I think they all know that like, hey, I didn't know the workouts and I was in the mix. Like, do I really think Austin knew the workout and that's why he beat you by 2 seconds on this workout? Probably not.
Yeah.
So. I think I'm like overly crazy about, and Rich too, about not getting the workouts out.
Yeah, I think I said I might know less than what you know, like the other coaches.
Yeah,
just because like they won't speak to me. They're talking about the programming, they won't even they'll stop talking and walk away.
There are times where I was like, "Oh, Jake's in here, we can't talk." It just happens, man. So, yeah, I thought overall, minus some minor fires behind the scenes, Rory.
They stay behind the scenes though, man. Then that's how it should be.
Yeah,
I know what you guys are talking about, so that's good.
That's good. I'll tell you off the scene. They were two pretty big, could have been really big things. Turned out to be non-issues, but
nice.
So cool. Yeah. What's up next? We got some more semifinals this weekend. Is
Legends this weekend,
which is
masters and individuals.
When Scott was telling me those workouts, I didn't realize it was a qualifier. I thought it was just, and they're using the stepper.
No, they're using
Stepper brand.
Stepper brand.
Oh yeah, you got me.
I've been over this 5 times.
I know, man. My brain.
Imagine they did use.
I did
the
not
actual
work
stepper,
hard
though.
at all this weekend, but I worked really hard this weekend. My brain is just mush.
You did like an 8-hour pod or a 4 or 5 hour podcast.
It was
basically.
like that stuff to me is harder. I would rather be out on the floor competing, than thinking about how does this look? Do I need to make sure? Do I need to help? Competing. Do I need to And Violet had a game that I pitched at on Friday night. Trice had practice 8 a.m. And so,
that's one thing
I try not to miss that stuff.
Oh, 100%. That's one thing I was going to say about, and it doesn't apply to the athletes. It doesn't really matter. They do have that, like they're sleeping in their own bed and whatnot. But when you're putting on the event, like sometimes a home game is harder.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had the same thing, man. We were like an hour until showtime, and Angie's like, hey, have you fed the dog yet? And I'm like, I didn't, babe. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you take care of that. And Coco's like, hey, can you pick me up so I can go such and such and so and so? I'm like, hey, no.
I got a busy weekend.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but I can't do that.
Yep.
Yeah, Madison was cool this weekend. Like she just knows that like she ain't gonna see me. I'm gonna have my emotions are gonna be short when I'm like I'm not gonna have much. I'm not gonna be able to give you much. Like I'm gonna be there all day,
She was great though. She came and she seemed like she was having fun.
Oh, she loved it. I mean, she gets so fired up.
Yeah.
When she watches like anyone she's friends with competes, she gets so fired up. No, she had a great time. She just knows that she's probably not gonna see me. Like I'll see you at night. We'll get in the same bed. That'll be about it.
I walked into the office and she was kicking it in there.
Yeah, she needed to take a couple breaks.
She's taking a load off, but I walked in. You know, Jules from AFJ is legendary chef. Like she's now known for her cookies, and they're wild.
Madison there crushing cookies.
What's that?
Was Madison there crushing?
No,
cookies?
I was, and I was like, hey, like. Don't judge me. Like this is me behind the scenes. I just need you to know.
She's getting that point where like her ankles are getting swollen and stuff. She stands for too long. She's like her feet get and the ankles get swollen. I'm like, just go in there and chill for a minute. You need to relax because she's like screaming, from the third row.
Yeah, Hill showed up Saturday night with all the kids. And then Sunday showed up with no kids. She was like, I'm not doing that
doing that again.
The kids love it. Trice is in there, just chaos, and then the girls are pretty respectable on stuff. Trice and Jai and some other boys. Well, but we own this place. This is our house,
And they don't realize like their friends who are there competing, and they're like, hey, bro, I don't want to play hula hoop with you or like whatever. Like I don't want to throw the football.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. That was the hard part when we competed. Like they didn't understand that they couldn't be down there with us.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, Hillary was like, she was great. She was like, hey, I'm going to come back. I really do want to watch, which is, kind of novel for her. She usually hates that stuff. And on Sunday, she's like, I'm going to come back, but I'm not bringing any kids.
Yeah.
Like, that works.
I had the opposite almost. So Gus showed up on Sunday. And I took him around. Oh, yeah, check this out. This is that athlete and whatever, pointing stuff out. And I seen him say this. He was like kind of detached. And I was like, anyways, like, what'd you want to do? And he's like, hey, could I borrow your credit card? And he was out. I was like, dang, dude. Like, you want to watch the Heat? Like, you want to stick around for what?
Yeah. 17, 16?
16.
16, yeah. Cool. All right, so do we have any athletes competing this weekend? I know there was some talk of it.
I don't even know.
There's some talk.
Yeah.
And then, this weekend Legends, and next weekend Far East and Copa Sur, which we have athletes at Copa Sur. And then
Jorge.
Yeah.
Miley.
I have Maria there.
Hendersonville
The team is there. There's we have a good amount. We have a good amount of athletes going down there. No, I'm not going. Dom's going to be my representative.
Dom's going.
We've got any like South American contingency we have is down there.
Yeah, really. We do have a lot. We actually do have a lot of people competing down there. That's like the foreseeable future. Those next couple of weekends.
I've not really looked at any of the programming from any of that.
I don't think there's a lot released.
Copa Sur and Far East are out.
They are out. Okay.
They just came out like this past.
And then Legends is just kind of dripping.
Are really good for Jorge too, right? It's like
a lot of heavy.
A lot of lifting.
A lot of heavy.
A lot of lifting and no running, right?
I think
it's not good for Miley.
The order could be wrong, but I think it's like 1 rep max snatch, clean and jerk ladder, front squats 225.
After an echo bike, right?
That's the same. This is the same. No. One single modality, 1 rep max snatch, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, clean and jerk ladder, and then the workout right after. This may not be the exact order, but this is one day, and then front squats at 225 or 155. It's a big dense day. Yeah.
Is it a 2-day competition?
Not dense updates, but dense.
I don't know if it's 2 or 3. I know that the teams are 2. I think it's 3. 3 for the Indies.
So
2 for the
how many events are they doing?
6.
So they do 3, 2, 1 or something?
No. I think it's sorry. Yeah, maybe they're on different. You're right. Maybe they're on different days, or maybe that Move Max workout is on a day on its own. I haven't seen the schedule.
Move Max
workout. That's the first workout. There's a Move Max. Nice. I'll get you guys up to speed.
Is that a cardio workout then?
It's like a long cardio workout if you can imagine.
Because you're moving maximally.
Yeah.
For an hour.
Yep.
Or 2.
Yeah, maybe or more. We'll see.
Oh. Let's stop. I can't wait to hear that.
There's a new CrossFit CEO. Peace.